Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the absolute mechanics behind the sport of boxing. A lot of people watch boxing and just see this chaotic brawl, but the sources we're exploring today reveal it's actually more like a high-speed game of physical chess. So let's break down the fundamentals and give you exactly what you need to confidently step into your very first boxing gym. Let's get into it.
Now, boxing might seem incredibly complicated at first glance, right? But Olympic medalist Tony Jeffries makes this really bold claim that completely changes the perspective. He says absolutely anyone can learn the basics in under 4 minutes, literally 4 minutes. So we're going to test that theory today. Seriously, feel free to stand up, clear a little space, and actively participate with us as we go through these movements. You are going to be amazed at how quickly your body actually picks this up.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer physical output the sport demands. Did you know a beginner can burn anywhere from 600 to a massive 1,000 calories in just a single hour of training? It's an absolute powerhouse of a workout. It isn't just about throwing your hands around. It's this intense, full-body cardiovascular blast that actually keeps burning energy long after you've taken your androps off. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, why start boxing today? 2. The essential boxing stance. 3. Mastering basic punches. 4. The power of shadow boxing. And finally, number 5, choosing your first gym. Section 1. Why start boxing today? Discover the physical and mental benefits. Okay, let's dive right into this. Before we even talk about how to throw a punch, we really need to look at why you'd want to pick up this sport in the first place. Beyond just melting away massive amounts of fat, boxing fundamentally changes how you carry yourself. It builds rapid muscle memory, and it drastically improves your balance and hand-eye coordination. But honestly, here's what I love the most about it. It actually fixes modern posture issues. Think about it. If you sit at a desk all day and suffer from round shoulders, the mechanics of boxing physically pull your back muscles back into alignment. Plus, it's just an incredible tool for mental health. There is literally no better way to punch out your pent-up stress and frustration than a solid boxing session. It empowers you mentally just as much as it does physically. Section 2. The essential boxing stance. The soul of the boxer. All right, to find your stance, we have to build it from the ground up. In boxing circles, they always say that footwork and your stance are the literal soul of the boxer. If your feet aren't right, your punches just won't have any power and your defense is going to crumble. So first things first, figure out your dominant hand. That hand goes in the back so it can deliver the big power. Now, I want you to imagine a straight line running right across the floor. Straddle that line so one foot is on the left and one is on the right. Next, angle both of your feet out at about 45 degrees, and finally, just bend your knees a little bit. Imagine you just ran a quick sprint, and you're resting your hands on your knees to catch your breath. That slight drop in your hips, that kind of bouncy, grounded feeling, yep, that is your fundamental boxing stance. So, now that you're standing correctly, you gotta know how to move. The cardinal rule of boxing movement is actually brilliantly simple. You always step first with the foot that's closest to your destination. Moving forward, front foot moves first. Want to go backward? Back foot steps first. Want to go left? Left foot steps first. You might be wondering why. Well, because you never ever want to cross your feet. Doing that completely ruins your balance. And hey, while you're taking those steps, you have to keep those hands glued right up by your cheeks and keep your chin tucked down to protect yourself. That's absolutely crucial. Section 3. Mastering basic punches. The universal arsenal. Okay, so you've got your stance and your footwork locked in. You are officially moving like a boxer. Now it's time for the fun part, building your attacking arsenal. All over the world, boxing uses this rule of numbers framework to call out combinations. Number 1 is always your front hand, the jab. It's snappy, it measures distance, and it basically sets everything up. The number 2 is your backhand, the cross. Because it's coming all the way from the back of your stance, it carries your heavy power. So 1 and 2. Jab and cross. Now, throwing these punches correctly might actually surprise you a bit. Punching power doesn't really come from your arms. It's totally generated by rotating your hips and pushing off the floor. So keep your shoulders nice and loose until the very end. Extend that arm straight out, rotate your hip right into the shot, and make sure you exhale sharply right upon impact. Oh, and this is super important. The punch isn't finished until your hand retracts immediately back to your face to play defense. Whatever you do, don't just leave it hanging out there. Of course, boxing isn't just about hitting, it's about not getting hit, right? So let's introduce your very first defensive move, the slip. I want you to imagine a punch coming straight at your nose. You're going to actively shift your body weight to your back foot, which causes your head to laterally dodge off the center line. You're just letting that imaginary punch fly harmlessly past your ear. All right, let's put all of this together into a classic, rhythmic combination using our new numbers. Ready? 1, 2, slip 2, hook 2.
Try to imagine flowing smoothly from your snappy jab to your powerful cross, and then immediately shifting your weight to slip an incoming attack. Then, you fire back with another cross, bring your lead hand around for a hook, and make sure your thumb is pointing up at 90 degrees for that one, by the way, and then finish the whole sequence with one final explosive cross. 1, 2, slip 2, hook 2. When you string it together, it really is like a beautiful dance. Section 4. The power of shadowboxing, training anywhere. Let's move on and see how this builds into an actual training routine that you can do literally anywhere. You really don't need a fancy ring or expensive equipment to get started today. Honestly, you just need your shadow. A lot of beginners think they just need to walk up and hit a heavy bag. But the truth is that shadowboxing and bagwork are not rivals at all. They actually work in perfect tandem. Shadowboxing in front of a mirror removes the distraction of impact, which lets you perfectly dial in your stance, your balance, and that essential muscle memory we talked about. Then when you do move to the heavy bag, you take that perfect technique and you apply power and resistance to it. You really need both to be a complete fighter. Section 5. Choosing your first gym, navigating the boxing world.
So now that you've got the fundamentals to practice at home, you're probably getting the itch to step into the real world. Finding a legitimate community and a good coach is the next huge step in your journey. So the crucial point here is knowing exactly what kind of facility you're actually walking into. There's a really sharp insider contrast between a boxercise class and a true boxing gym. Boxercise is fantastic for cardio. You'll do sweat circuits, you'll get your heart rate way up, but there is zero sparring and often very little technical correction. A true boxing gym, on the other hand, houses active competitive fighters. The coaches there are meticulous about proper form because, bad form in a real ring gets you hurt. If you actually want to learn the sweet science, you definitely need a true boxing gym. We found this brilliant piece of real-world advice sourced directly from the amateur boxing community on Reddit. And it involves observing a class before you even join. Before you sign any contracts, just sit and watch. Does the coach actually take the time to respectfully correct a beginner's mistakes? Do they have solid control over the room? A massive, glaring red flag is a gym culture that just throws raw beginners right into the ring to spar on day one. No way! A good gym is going to protect you and build you up slowly. And here's another really crucial insider tip from seasoned boxers. Do your homework on the coaching staff. Seriously, don't be afraid to ask about a coach's official credentials and their competition experience. In a lot of regions, if you're training under someone who isn't officially qualified and registered, your sports insurance will be completely invalid if you happen to suffer an injury. A reputable coach is going to be proud to share their credentials with you, so always ask. Finally, let's ease your mind a bit about equipment intimidation. You absolutely do not need to drop hundreds of dollars to start. The consensus from the boxing community is super clear on this. On day one, literally just show up in comfortable gym clothes with a good attitude. That's it. By week 1, you'll probably want to buy your own inexpensive hand wraps just for hygiene and basic wrist protection. But save the purchase of those specialized 14 to 16 ounce sparring and bag gloves for later, once you're absolutely sure you're fully committed to the sport. Okay, so we've covered the benefits, the essential stance, the basic punches, how you can train at home, and exactly how to go about finding the right gym. You literally have the entire blueprint now. You know exactly how to stand, and you know how to step. So I just have to ask you, what is stopping you from throwing your first punch today? Seriously, stand up, get into your stance, and start shadowboxing right now. Thanks for joining us on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.